Hello everybody and welcome to Surviving the Aftermath Winter Edition, Winter Update. That means we now have winter catastrophes more or less in the game as well, so seasons. And yeah, we're starting here with a very interesting map, I think, as the beautiful sun is setting on day 0. This is really Ground Zero, so this is the beginning of all of a new grand adventure. This game has come a long way, and the latest update just shows how much the developers want to put into that. We have a beautiful map here, so we have some lakes around us, as we can see. And yeah, if you're new to the game, well, it's basically building up your colony and surviving against catastrophes, now winter as well, attacks even, so sandworms we're going to see, and raiders from the outside. Here we are, Sleepy Hollow on the world map, so this is our town, our settlement. Now we got some scavenging around us, and lots of space as well that we need to explore. So this game not only focuses on the map where you play, but also on a world map where you can scout around, find new things and quests as well. Now let's start. We are here, we have 3 survivors at the moment. These are our adventurers. We can control them directly. Each one of them has certain strengths, so one of them is very good with researching, the other one with fighting, and the other one with scavenging. We got Baron here, Wheeler and Satoshi. So these are our 3 starting founders. And the first thing we need, well, is a campsite. And the campsite is pretty much the town center that we can have, so we should place it right in the middle here. So let's have the first building of our new colony, and there it is, the campsite. So my people are now, well, constructing it. As we can see, that's rather quick. That's still not enough though, so we're still only the 3 survivors here. We need to send the other ones that are waiting somewhere to get to the colony. Shoot the flare is our next target. So now the remaining colonists can see, we have found the right spot, and this is it on day 0. There should be now new colonists coming in any seconds. The inhabitants, prompted by the specialist signal flare, the rest of your group arrives at the prepared campsite. Despite all the hardship ahead, it's time to rebuild and turn this hostile place into a home. And there they are, lots and lots of new colonists. We have now 10 colonists, as we can see. 7 of them are carriers. We also got 3 children, so those guys will be growing up then at some point and become adults themselves. But for now, like George here, they're children doing nothing basically except eating. April here, for example, is an adult there. She is really healthy at the moment, no contamination. Yeah, speaking of contaminations, we got something here, some polluted area. So this is where radioactive materials are stored. And in that case, we should not get too close to that. So we have a lake here, but I think this lake is contaminated, so I'm not going to build on that. We do, however, have some nice, decent lakes on this side here, so we might use them for something. Now, beginnings first, we have the campsite, so let's get started with a little road on either side, basically, where we can then continue building our town around. So we have the road around the campsite there, going all the way up here then, because I think this is a rather desolate area there, so we might just have our industry district then up here, right? And of course the food goes then to the other side there, all the way to the other side, around this little mountain there, into that forest there, and as we can see, the trees disappearing as well. Well, beside the basic structure of the settlement, what we should be doing is, first of all, well, some production, some raw materials. Water is the main problem right now. As we can see, we have still 270 water in store, but the balance is -10. So a water well will be our very first target, where we can get some water out of it. As we can see, it provides up to 10 water. This is perfect for us, because it means we basically do then have enough water. Let's just see where we have the road here. So that we built the road already, and we might just have this well right next to this mountain here, right? So this might be the best option. As we can see, they're starting now with building these roads there, and also our first well, let's just see, just beside that mountain there with, provides only 8 water. Oh, it's not that easy. There is 10 water. So there we got the first well. Now this one will provide some basic water that we're going to need in the first couple of days. Now they're doing that. Next up, what we need is some scavenging. So how do we do that? Well, we do need some stockpile. So we do need a place where we can store some resources. And since we have the mountain here, it might also make sense to have some stockpile around that, or, well, to the center. But let's just have it here close to the mountain there, because there's basically nothing else that we need. And there we also got the stockpile, and a food storage is the other building that we need. So this is where we're going to store, well, some food and stuff like that. So let's also have our food storage there. And the people will now deliver resources there. So what does it need? For example, some planks, some plastic, and some concrete. Lucky we do have a few of these materials at hand right now, so we can build those things. And my colonists start with that right away. While they're doing all these things, that construction, we have our specialists and we can control them directly. And the first thing I want to do is scouting around the map, because this is also part. We're not only scouting on the world map, we're also scouting on our map to see some new stuff, right? We can see where monsters are. We can see if there's a quest, for example. We can see new ruins like this one here that we can then scavenge. And as we can see, it's not a beautiful world yet, but we're going to make it. There's some berries here, some wildlife as well, a majestic deer. Oh, and also this lake here has some minor contamination. That is a bit tricky. Makes the initial production of fish, for example, really difficult. And as we can see, there is major pollution here as well. Righto, the stockpile has been finished, so we can now move the work area for the stockpile and say where something needs to be gathered. And as we can see here, we got some planks and some concrete, so those things we can gather directly. So whoever is now free, that is the carriers, can or will go there and collect these things, the planks and the concrete, right? Those are the basic building materials. For now we can do it like that. Later we're going to need some production buildings as well that do the job for us permanently. Let's continue there. We have the water storage. What's going on with my water well? Takes quite some time to build it. As we can see, coming along only very slowly. And yeah, we also got the first people now working here, scavenging hay. And it's raining a bit as well, as the day is coming to an end. The sun is going down. We haven't really come a long way yet. Let's just see what else we await out here. Let's send them there. Some more ruins. Very good. And this guy here around the lake there. Even though I'm not really happy about that pollution. And of course it's nighttime, so they need to sleep. So unfortunately they're not going to build a lot. This guy here is still building the well because he knows probably that water is important for us. So hopefully we can finish this well now. And there it is. We got the well at least. Our balance is 0. Not the best balance. We have something in store and we can support our settlers with this well at the moment. But unfortunately, well, we do need another well to store more water as well, just in case something happens. And as we can see, one of our specialists, there's a sandworm. So a massive mutated centipede which burrows underground to attack its victims. And this guy here was killed now because of the sandworm. It's yeah, not a good thing that this happens, but in that case we now know where we should not go, right? So up there is a sandworm, and I'm not going to go there anymore. We lost one specialist. Well, not good, not devastating either. We still have 2 specialists that can do a bit of us for now. Let's continue. We have the water. The food storage is now finished as well, so we can now move the work area, and let's go for some berries up here as well, right? So those berries there. And we can go collect that for some basic food. Now, since water is still not really high up there, I would like to have another water well. And that is something we're probably, going over here. So they can't overlap. If they overlap, they take away the water from each other. So they should be a bit further away from each other. The next well will be out here for another 10 water that we can then have with this. And another thing, now that we get some planks and concrete in, is also I should look out for some tents. So tents is where people can then, live and, well, scoodly poop, that is reproducing. Also, while we're at it, let's have a double road here, since that is going to be our main road. And going also down here to the entrance here. So this is where we have the gates then. This is the entrance to our town itself. So we might just have a nice little entrance there as well, along the main road here then. And let's also have something here and here, because this is more or less our town center. We should have some big roads around it, since there are also going to be some big buildings then as well. Now let's just see, the berries are being collected as well, the food storage is working, the stockpile is working, and the next well is being built. So now we can go for some tents. Let's do that. Let's have the tents. The only question is, where should we have them? I think for now, right around the corner here, let's build our first 3 tents. And there the tents are. So a few colonists now have some shelter here. They can live there and, well, make babies as well, which is important for us, of course, to grow. Now, another thing that we need is some other resources. So planks and concrete we get out of these ruins at the moment. There's still though something that we need a building for that, and that's the scrapper. The scrapper basically scavenges metal and junk from metal deposits. Let's just see, we do have some plastic there, so this is our recycler. The scrapper and the recycler for these deposits there. There we got a metal scrap, for example, metal deposit, a plastic deposit. Out here, more metal. And let's just see where we do have a bit more plastic, perhaps. There is another plastic one. Pollution. Yeah, plastic is pretty scattered around the world as far as I can see, but metal is pretty close up here, so it might be a good idea to have our first scrapper in this area here too, right? So where we have those deposits there, we can move them, of course, the work areas, but for now it will be a good thing to have it over here, just where we have these deposits. And it's also a good thing to go with the road all the way there to the lake as well then, because we're going to need that lake here for fishing and water collecting soon. And a huge road just basically goes to this side here. And there we can then have our scrapper, the next building that we need, the next big building in that case. Let's just see where we can squeeze it in. It should not be too close to the pollution here, because otherwise it gets this pollution as well in its surroundings, right? So we can see there is a bit of pollution around it. It's not devastating, but it's still, we should not just have something too close to it. Let's have the scrapper basically here then. Right, and there we have our scrapper coming up, very important building, and a recycler we're also going to need. So we do have the plastic here, and I think there was not really much around it. Here we haven't scouted yet, so let's just risk it. I really don't want to lose another specialist now, but we can still move to that side there. We do need to scout though, because we need to find a few things. Otherwise we're pretty much blind when it comes to the surrounding. There is still a bit of stuff that we can scout perhaps. And lo and behold, we also found some more metal and a plastic deposit up here as well. So rather close then, if we have now our recycler in this spot there, it makes sense because we can have then the other one, or we have then 2 big chunks of plastic in the surroundings. So let's build our next building here, a bit further away from that pollution there, which is exploding from time to time. We should not have a building around it. We can, of course, remove them later then. That is important. And let's just see. So those are the basic things. As we can see, the scrapper is now finished. Someone is working there right away. We just now need a work area for it. Let's go with the more secure stuff for now. Here and there we're getting the metal scrap out of it, which then in turn makes it to these metal parts here, and also to some leftovers that we can use then for something else, scrap basically. Now that is working. The recycler will be working soon as well. Very important to keep that up. Water is fine. Food, let's just check that. The berry bushes are still there. And the stockpile here is working too still, so we still have some piles there. Even though concrete is rather low, right? So we should not invest too many people into these things there at the moment, into other buildings, because we need to still scavenge a lot. Now, another thing I want to do real quick is building an outhouse. So this one here, basic hygiene, is a must for healthy colony, allows colonists to wash and relieve themselves, keep outhouses away from water sources, right? So that is perhaps not the best thing. Let's have the outhouse here, right? Oh, there's a water source, right? So we should not have it too close there, but we can have it just here by the recycler and by the mountain. So this is where people can relieve themselves if they want to. Another very important building is the medical tent that I want to build rather sooner than later. Do we have the resources for that? We do need some fiber, we do need plastic, we do need planks and some metal, and yes, we do have those things. I hope so, at least. I can't see that we don't have... Oh yeah, we have 10 fiber, so that is possible. But wait a second, we will also need to build the gate at some point. That doesn't need any fiber though, so that's a good thing. Right, so let's build this medical tent there. Very important, because we're getting some sick people sooner or later, and we should definitely treat them. So let's have the medical tent out here. rather closer, because as we can see already, we're getting more and more industrial here, also with the fisher then, so it's a nice middle ground between my colony and the industry that we're going to have there later. My specialists are rather bored at the moment, no wonder, they can't do anything, but if we get an attack, they might just defend us, which is a good thing. Recycler is finished. Let's just see, we have our plastic down here. 71 plastic we have in there, and as we can see, plastic and fiber is coming out of this, and we already got the first worker for this one now too. And the good thing about this one is as well that we get rid of these piles here that first of all don't really look nice, and also block building space, of course, that we don't want. Now day 2, we're still very early, so our basic production, as far as I can see, is up and running now. Food is still manual though, so we always have to change the work areas as long as that isn't working. We don't really have much concrete. We have 5 carriers still, so the stockpile still takes everything here. This should really work soon. The outhouse is finished now too, so people can now take a dump and relieve themselves, and I think there's already one in there. And yeah, we still have some homeless people, so let's also build another 3 tents, and let's just do this behind those tents there. Right, there we got 3 more tents coming up, and let's also have a road connection then, just here, for those 3 tents. The medical post is finished as well, and someone is working there right away, but there's no sick people at the moment, so I can say put this building to idle. So for now no one is working there, and if there are some sick people, well then I might just apply or assign a medic here, and we could then heal 2 people there at once. But for now it's not needed, but it's there, and that's important because we're getting some weather problems soon as well. Also, the tents are being built. They cost me a few planks there and plastic. Quite a lot of plastic, to be honest, for these tents that are coming up there. And also the sun is going up, and I love how far you can see. Look at that behind there, beautiful. As our colony Sleepy Hollow is growing, metal is now working, not at 100% yet. I think he just started with it, and the scrapper, he is or she is also working now. Yeah, there she is, scrapping away. My other colonists are building the roads here. The tents are finished, so we have no homeless people at the moment. One of the tents is actually unoccupied, which is good, so we have a bit of a buffer once we get the first people coming in then. And also, what we might have here then is a fisherman. So we could have a fisherman here, and here, since we have 2 lakes there, and there's even a 3rd lake, so we have a lot of stuff that we can build here. Water-wise is fine, the wells will take us through quite some time there through the game. Food, yeah, food is our main problem then soon. The berries won't last forever, so let's get our first fisherman up. Costs me some planks and some concrete, and here we can have it. Right, so just beside the ruin and far away from the pollution here. There's also a fierce mouse. This is actually an animal that attacks at some point, so we might just kill it now. And Wheeler will be in action now. He's got some good attack damage there, and as we can see, fighting the fierce mouse also takes a bit of damage there, but of course such an animal is not a problem yet, and we definitely should get rid of it because it might bite my colonists and they become sick of it, so we should avoid that. Now the fishing hut is coming up, and another very important building that we need to build now soon is the gate, because without the gate we have no access to the world map and no access to the outside, no researching and stuff like that. So the next building that we want is the gate. Costs a lot of resources. We don't have all the resources yet, but whenever we get them in, we can continue with the gate. It's rather like our first monument, right? Takes quite some time, lots of resources, so this is not being finished anytime soon, but it's important that we start on that now. Of course, not only can we go to the outside, but the outside can come to us then once the gate is finished. So we should prepare for that as well. And we got a quest here, more than a bit of wool. One of the colonists approaches you, appearing more than a bit nervous. She says that she might be able to provide some clothing for the colony. Her grandmother used to teach her while she was a child, and she seems fairly confident that she still remembers how it goes. The question is, do you trust her skills? I don't know if we have the fiber, because I can't see it there. I think we still have some fiber, so let's try this one. And yes, you give her some fiber and she seems thankful for your trust. As expected, the work takes some time, but she finally returns with some absolutely stunning traditional garbs. And we get 5 protective clothing, so that's this one here. Of course, we have tools and clothing there. Both of them are very important, especially the colder it gets. We do need some clothes there as well, to keep my people warm. And that was successful. There's a high chance that these quests are not successful. So it's always a hit or miss moment that you can have. Now, the fishing hut is coming along splendidly, has all the resources now, and as we can see, is being built. And there it is, finished in all its glory. And I just love the atmosphere there. Look at that, as the sun is going up again on a new day. And here we have this fishing hut. Someone is working on that right away. It is needed because our food is going down, not quickly, but steadily. And as we can see, production is 3, consumption, however, is 8. So we do need to do something about the food. And the fisherman is our first building for that. Beautiful. Stay tuned.